anyone who's listening to this episode or watching it, there are spoilers. So if you haven't read the book and you don't want it spoiled, leave now. If you don't want to read the book and you just want to hear about it, stay. So that is my warning, and that's all anyone gets. So, all right, so let's dive into this beauty. All
Let's
right,
do this.
so that first sex scene.
Oh, shit.
Did it surprise you with how soon in the book it happened?
Of course.
Yes.
Yes, I loved that.
Renee's like,
So
no.
I was like, the shoot just happened.
Right?
I think it surprised me with how fast it happened just because of, like you said, it was just like so out of left field. She's like walking down the road and all of a sudden there's like,
About like
all
a
this
dick in
going
her
on.
mouth.
On your is ready to. It did parallel so much to Nick and Finley's first interaction in the woods as well. So
Yeah.
I liked that, even though it didn't happen early, obviously. But I kind of liked the
Yeah.
stuck in the forest.
For me, I actually laughed out loud. So number one, that chapter is only 10 pages, and a majority of that is we're on our hands and knees in the woods.
That's not, again, but that's why she's the queen, because it's like, where the hell, how the hell?
So, did anybody else notice the correlation in A Ruin of Roses that the first like actual intimate scene between Finley and Ifane was essentially the same scene, Weston and Aurelia with the face fucking?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love it.
I was like, there's gotta be like some
Who
no.
doesn't love a good face fucking though?
Yes. I mean,
I
come
feel
on.
like
Bree
I feel like
clearly
it's
has a
delicious
thing for it.
dark. That's like a requirement. It has to be the first thing to check off the list. Okay, we got face bucking. Okay, now let's go doggy style. Okay. Oh, missionary. Okay. Like, it's a little checklist.
So heaven. I just love that little, hilarity that only.
I honestly laughed so hard when she thought that she was hallucinating on drugs.
I have been there. So
Yes. Woo.
She said, I need to recreate this experience. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But it's not going to be how you think.
It was funny. It was so funny. I was just like, wow, okay. So in her fantasy, that's how she likes to get down, right? So it's like
And she's talking to Granny about it.
it was so
What,
funny.
Daniel?
I'm like, oh man.
see,
Yeah,
I am.
realistic.
I'm as a human being in myself. Like my mom hates me because I'm like, yo, listen, I just had
Yeah.
I am the TMI queen. So like when all of this happened, I was like, why am I Aurelia? Like,
Right. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
My
it was.
sister-in-law.
Oh,
I'm also the team
Yeah.
queen, so I'll just tell anybody anything and then hope for the best later. Like, you didn't want to hear all that? I'm sorry.
right.
Oh, I tell my boss
Wash
at
their
work
ears out with
sometimes.
soap.
Yeah. I start telling story, and like the reason why I bring this up is because it also reminded me of this, which I know we'll probably talk about here in a little bit. But I was telling my boss one time about I was like in my early 20s, I was doing mushrooms, and I'm telling him this story, and he's just like this really straight laced, like just genuinely like the coolest, nicest guy on the planet, and he's just like, what the fuck is going on right now? And like, I was like, are you okay? Yeah, it's fine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the book really it hit the ground running with fuck fairy tales and then literally fucking on a forest road in chapter 2. I mean, so obviously the story there's just so many moving parts, right? With Granny is basically her adoptive family, right? Took her in when she was 12 because she was homeless and after her mother passed and all that, and Granny basically made her a drug maker because she's really good at deciphering ingredients and what works well. how did you guys feel about that? Like Granny, because I fucking hated her for the first second. I
Oh
didn't
God,
like her at all.
I hate her so much.
I hate him to my
Right?
core. Like, can you bring a character to life just so I can like lose my shit on him? Just, I mean,
Give
I
her a
need to
high
let
five
out.
in the face with the chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I Luna, you're too fat to get up there. Sorry, my cat. Get down.
All of us, our animals are like, okay, you've had enough time alone.
She's literally trying to get in my mom's photo box. So my mom passed away almost a year ago, and I got all her photos so I could start scanning them in, so I could have digital copies. And this fat bitch was trying to get in the photos. Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, I did not like Granny. I did not like Granny at all. I didn't even like her little friend who used to be like her hookup. Like,
No,
really, dude?
he seemed like a shit human being. Like,
He
just
seems
Rough
shady as
punch.
hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
we just like to pick on each other. No, he's being a dick.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. He's not aware of his actions and the way he's coming across because he feels like he doesn't need to be, So I'm like, oh,
I don't know. It's almost like what's the word? I had it and I lost it. He
intentional.
is, yeah, like I don't know. I lost the word that I
It'll
wanted
come
to
to you.
use because I was thinking about it whenever I was like, you are such, like, how you're doing this
He's
is
a bitch.
you've been allowed to get away with that behavior, so you think it's okay to be vicious
Yeah,
and hateful to somebody in a joking manner. You need to be
yeah.
throat punched.
He's a narcissist, kind of
Yeah,
manipulator, douche
I will
canoe.
say, I
douche
feel like there
canoe.
is. I feel like there is a character in almost every Breen book that is almost written exactly the same way, where
Yeah,
you have this one very hated character or two very hated characters who have very similar traits, and they have a place in the books for sure. But I think they're universally hated because they're supposed to be universally hated.
yeah.
You've got Granny, you have her ex-boyfriend or ex-lover or whatever. Um, whose name is escaping me at the moment. Um,
He's
but
irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
exactly, like,
Hold on, I've got my
um,
cock in my bed. Remember?
I was gonna say she writes characters almost like it's like her version of Stan Lee's in Marvel movies. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
it's the same character, but with a different name and look. But it's total dick in each one.
What
Just
it
a total.
there was a Dane Cook joke where he was like, everybody hates Kevin. I think it's Kevin.
Oh, Brian.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
then she always has a Kevin where you just hate him just to fucking hate him.
Yeah, it was like fucking Brian.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Brian?
Yeah,
And I know it's Brian because that was my ex's name, and that's
Okay,
when the
it's
date
Brian.
was out. And so we were
I
like,
knew there was
fucking Brian all the time.
I
And he's
couldn't
all,
remember what it was, but I was like, there's just the one guy that you always hate, and there's no
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
one reason.
Justin for me.
Oh,
It's either Justin or a Josh every time,
Oh yeah.
without fail.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Mine's getting there. So all right, so that dude was a douche. Alexander, I mean, we could probably go off on an hour tangent, but we're not. But we're just gonna say he's the worst character ever.
Ever.
The dude is just. I think she might have gone and wrote her best villain because that guy is just off of his meds. He needs to be in a straitjacket in an asylum. The guy is just completely unhinged. Like there's no logical thinking at all with him.
See,
No.
I think he's unhinged, but I don't really see him as the villain. Like, I don't. I see him as another pawn, just another Aurelia. Like, yes, he's twisted and sick, but I see him as another Aurelia. He is he's a creation. Granny created him to be that way.
Yeah,
See,
she's definitely the, but he.
I think she's paid him. Oh, Brianna, say that again.
Sorry,
It was breaking up. Say that again.
Granny's definitely the master villain, but I do think that he's
Oh, yeah.
awful because I think he had the propensity to be, that like antisocial, that I get off on people's pain,
Yeah.
I think those traits were probably there, and she saw that as his strength, and that's what I'm going to use you for.
Yeah. See, and
Well,
that's
and
the
I think
thing.
for him, money talks, right? And that's the only reason he's staying loyal to Granny. But, if we get fast forward to the end of the book, he went off course. So he's not even listening to Granny. He's like lost his fucking marbles and he's doing his own thing, right? Like, I think he's actually the master villain because I think, if anything, he'll off Granny and he'll take over the operation. Like, I think, like, he's getting cocky. Oh, I totally can anticipate him getting so cocky that he tries to do something like that. But us knowing Granny, she's a badass. She'll probably
If Aurelia doesn't
find
get
out.
to stab Granny for all of the trauma she caused, I won't. I'll be sad.
I couldn't believe that she wanted to go talk to her after discovering that she was still alive. I'm like, why?
It's the trauma.
Part of me.
All those years.
Yeah.
As much as I hate it and would hate it, I could definitely see her character going back to Granny for a time, and like us seeing a time where she's gone back to Granny and is trying to figure out who she is still with Granny, and then it comes to a point where she finally snaps and realizes everything, and then we get a whole like character arc there.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see her going back to Granny before everything is said and done, and spending time back in that situation, and then realizing everybody else was right.
Well, I think for sure that's going to happen.
Weston didn't tell her she was alive. I think
Yeah,
that
but
right there.
He's digging himself a grave though, because he's lied to her, and this is not a small lie. Okay, like the lie is, number one, he hasn't told her they're mates, which I think is fucked up. He should have told her, right? Like, whether she has her wolf access to her wolf or not, he should have told her, hey, this is why we have this connection. This is why, right? And I think she would have been very understanding of everything and been like, okay, because then it would have made sense to her. Like, why am I so attracted to this guy? Like, I can't stop. Like, why do I have feelings for him? But what he did, that's a big betrayal, because he lied. He told her she was dead. He told her, and then the way he just dismisses her on the boat, like, it's definitely gonna be an explosive start to the next book. Mm-hmm. And I think that's gonna push her to want to go back to Granny. And then she's gonna, like you said, Bennett, like, she's gonna then be thrown into some shitstorm. Weston and them are gonna have to save her. She's gonna realize that no, Granny really is the villain, even though she does love her. But she's the villain, and then she'll go back, at least to Hadriel, at the end of the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have my theories on that, too. Jessica, I'm sorry. I know you were going to say something first, so I'll let you go first. But
Okay, so I think that the reason Weston dismissed her, I think that's one of those, she let us think that Weston dismisses her, whereas I think Weston's just like, I have hurt her, I'm throwing my walls up because here she is crying over this villain, and because he's never been able to get that Aurelia thinks that her drugs are not, hurting these people. I mean, they weren't. But he also doesn't understand her connection with Granny. He hears all these stories, all these flippant, comments, and he's like, that's what you were treated like? And you act like it's nothing. And so I'm going to keep this a secret because I don't want you to know that, you can run away to her. I want you to think because I want to keep you safe because you are my mate. And then now he sees her bawling and he's just like, shit, what am I supposed to do? And so he walks away to deal with his little old man feelings. And then by allowing that, it puts salt in that wound. And so, yes, there's going to be, I feel like you're right. I feel like there's going to be a huge blow up. And so I could definitely see her, because see, when I thought that Alexander was like, Granny, would be like, Granny's still alive kind of thing. Because I was thinking maybe she is. Maybe she is still alive and she's going to, be like, hey, come back. Granny's still alive. And she's going to go, oh, okay, I'll come back now that I know Granny's alive to see what's going on because I want to fix this. Because this isn't something's wrong. This isn't what it was supposed to be. And so that's what I was expecting. And then whenever that didn't happen. I was like, what the hell is about to happen here? So that I started devouring the last of the book, and then that happened, and then she's standing on the boat crying, and I'm like, shit, that's a, again, like complete plot twist for me. But
Yeah. All right, Renee.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a spicy stage 5 clinger here. Sorry. But so she's in a muzzle. I always want to like preface this. She's in a muzzle because she hates everybody but me. So
Aw.
um it's vet required. We are waiting for a properly fit muzzle. It's on its way. So
she's
Aw.
pretty.
just yeah,
Yeah, she
she's my
is.
baby. As you can see, she is a stage 5 clinger.
Aw, she's
But
so beautiful.
that being said, so the I going back to Weston's behavior at the end of it, I think all of us can relate to, if not personally, have friends who have been in abusive relationships in some capacity or another, and where Aurelia is really kind of focusing on is the codependency of what Granny was able to give to her, of that um manufactured safety that a lot of folks start to feel whenever you build into a relationship that is based on a lot of narcissism, a lot of like real strong emotions. And I think what Breen did fantastically was really dig in deep into a character who has been so abused that like those sorts of what's the word I'm looking for? Uh the like the Beauty and the Beast esque, I can't think of the name of the thing right now, but it still kind of pulls into that whole need to be around that person. Um, thank you. Yes. So it, I think that when we're looking at the way Weston treated Aurelia at the end of the book, ultimately we're looking at someone who has either dealt with, and he has dealt with his own trauma for sure and his own abuse for sure. Um, but when you get into the end of the book, of course he's going to kind of be cold and be this person because he sees her moving back into what's comfortable for her.
Yeah.
And what I like to tell a lot of people, like deal with a lot of people in the LGBT community on a regular basis who have dealt with a lot of abuse on, in multiple directions, right? And the one thing that I tell people all the time is the one thing that we get addicted to is people more than anything else. And as you see, Aurelia can potentially have the access to be having addictions and things like that, right? But the thing that we get most addicted to is the cortisol levels in our bodies. So when you start finally meeting people who are good for you and who are great people to be around, you find them incredibly boring. You find them to not be able to be that safe space for you because your safe space, is ultimately your cortisol levels are up here, whereas that safe space should be down here. So I think what Weston is doing at the end of this book is really, I can't help you anymore at this point. I'm ultimately trying to protect you. I'm trying to be there for you in a way that is going to save you from the drama, protect you ultimately, because he is a protector. So I think that the way that Breen wrote that was absolutely genius because I feel like we've all probably been there or have been around folks who have been there, and you've seen the way that folks kind of look at that type of abuse, and I have not seen that written in a book before as like poignantly as Breen has written this.
So you're definitely onto something with that. And with him, I feel like if he had just told her they were fated mates, then I think she wouldn't have as many questions. She'd be more willing to trust him and move with him. But it's like he hasn't given her a reason to trust him since
Well,
he
again,
gave
remember
her
at the beginning of the book, she says, I don't believe in fated mates. So
Yeah,
I think he wasn't wrong to not tell her that, she's saying
yeah,
fairy tales are bullshit, right? Well,
yeah.
so I don't think that he was wrong for holding that information back. And but that being said, I don't think that, she's going to take it well once she finds out.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing because it's going to show just another layer in the onion of where he lied to her. Had he told her about that, and then also, okay, 1 second, minute. I know she's like, I gotta say something. Is the fact that like they lied about Granny. Okay, was that a decoy from them or was it a decoy from Granny? Like, there's going to be a lot of unanswered questions that she's not going to know who to believe.
Yeah.
She's not going to know. All right, Bennett,
Oh, I'm
you're up.
sorry. No, I was just going to go off of what Renee says. While I see it kind of about the same way that she does, I see it just a little bit differently. I feel like that was more, while it was a shitty move, because you want him to be good for Aurelia.
Yeah.
You want him, like, personally, we want him to be nice to her and tell her everything and just be, and continuously do for her because she clearly needs it. But I feel like it kind of the same situation, but a little bit of a different twist towards it is we all have that friend that's been in a really shitty relationship and we've told them time and time again, this isn't good for you. I'm here to help you. I'll do all of this stuff for you. You know,
Yep.
you know, I'll be here for you. I'll stand beside you. But you need to walk away from this. And they keep coming back to you crying, talking about he did this and he did that. And you're like, well, you get to a point where there's nothing else you can do. And you have to protect yourself in a way and go, I'm sorry, but I have to wash my hands of it. I don't ever want to lose you as a friend. I don't ever want to lose you as a person because I've had those situations in my life where to protect my health and my family and my own mental stability, I had to tell that friend, as much as I love you, I cannot put any more energy into this because you are creating this problem for yourself. So he had to step back and kind of be more cold about it because he was not only protecting himself, but he also knows that he needs to be loyal to Finley and Nifane, and that's what he's trying to do. Like, that's been his job the whole time. And he's told her from the very beginning, no matter what, you are still going to pay for your crimes. Whether you didn't really mean to commit them, no matter what. But like, I think this might have been an eye-opener for him. I could be reading into it wrong, but personally, I took it as an eye-opener for him when she had a meltdown, like after she's already acknowledged all the trauma and stuff that Granny and Alexander and everybody put her through, and she seemed to be getting better and processing this. She took a huge nosedive in regression, and he looked at her and he opened his eyes and was like, I can't. Like, I can't warrior and campaign for you to these people if you're still going to be wanting to be around her. So I can see that react. Like, I could put myself in that position and go, you know what? I'd probably react the same way. As much as I hate it because like he didn't comfort her. Meh. But again, like, she's gonna have to work through that shit on her own. Like, because that's who Breene writes. I mean, she's gonna have again support, not a savior. He's never been there to be her savior, and that's, I think, sometimes people look at these books and they're like, well, why didn't he do this and why didn't he do that? Why didn't he save her? And I'm like, that's not what he's supposed to be. He's not. He's but he also still has his own stuff he's got to answer for because he feels such a fierce loyalty to Finley and Nifane.
Yeah. For me, when it comes to books, it's just like, why not just be open in communication? Why keep secrets? Why lie? Like, a lot, and I get why authors do it, right? Because then it's like you're building a plot and you're building a drama, and it's like, yeah, she doesn't believe in fated mates, but I think like had he told her though, she would have understood why he's acting the way he is, like why he let her go, right? Because she doesn't have to reciprocate, right?
Right.
She could just be like, nah, I'm done. But him, he has access to his wolf, so he's more inclined to protect her, right? And he's got that internal conflict. And I'm like, just tell her so that way she understands why you're being nice, why you're letting her go, why you're struggling with this decision, right? Because it's like if they weren't fated mates, there would be no struggle. He'd just be like, get in the fucking cart. Let's go. You know?
That he is also flawed and has his own trauma. So
Oh, yeah.
those lies and those things that he does, those are his flaws and his trauma. And so
Yeah.
that's where she just every time, because you know that it's not just I'm gonna lie because I'm gonna lie, or I'm gonna lie
Yeah.
for the
Well, it's not
stupid
even-
miscommunication.
And it's not even him lying. It's just him withholding information.
Withholding, and it's because
Yeah.
he's afraid. He wants to get her out of this
Yeah.
area so he can get her somewhere, so he can just look at her and tell her this is what's going on and let's work out this together, because he's afraid that if he doesn't wait and he does it now, it's going to explode and it's going to be out of his control because he's not in his territory and he's not in a safe space. So that's
He's
where
protecting himself.
yes, and so
Yeah.
that is where it's just so perfect, because it's not a stupid miscommunication trope like, oh, I'm not going to tell her because my phone rang. Well, you couldn't have declined the call and told her what was going on? Like,
Right?
like he has his own trauma, his own fears, and his own things. So that's where I just love it. It's just
See, and me, I'm the opposite. I'm just like, just fucking tell her already. That's me when I'm reading these books. I'm like, God damn it, you could save 2 fucking days of drama. No, I'm just kidding. But I do think at the beginning of the next book, I think the one that's gonna slap some sense into her, not like literally, is gonna be Hadriel. Because she has
without
this
doubt.
bond with him. He wasn't there at the cabin, so he heard everything as she heard, right? And so I think she's really going to bond with him even more, but he's going to rip her down to reality like, hey,
Yeah.
these are the facts, bitch. Like, get on board.
I don't know. I think it's going to be Finley that does that. But
Oh,
then,
yeah.
but
It
then
makes
he's going to come in and like reiterate what Finley says, and says it more of in like a friend way than a royalty way. I think Finley, I feel like them two have the potential to be really fucking close too.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's going to be Finley, like, because Knifeang's just going to be a dick for no reason because it's Knifeang.
Yeah.
I mean, and we love him. We love him very much, but he's just going to be a dick. But I really do. I think once the whole, like, I think they're going to get there and they're going to, chat stuff out or whatever. And Finley's just going to lay it out. Just give her the nitty gritty. Here the fuck it is. And
not sugarcoat it.
And Aurelia's going to be lost as a kitten. And then here comes Hadriel, like, okay, she might have broke you down, but let me explain why she told you these things and why she's right and how we're going to help you.
Mhm.
And then I think
He's a loving teacher, you guys. He's a loving teacher.
He's such a
You know who I would also love to see have that conversation, and I'm probably going to get her name wrong because I always forget it, but the side character in the first few books, is her name Leela?
Leah?
Yeah, I think that she could potentially be the person to be like, yo, like, I have gone down the fucking rabbit hole. Like, and by that, it's almost not even a euphemism. She probably has gone down the rabbit hole. But, but like, I think that she would be also the perfect person to sit down and be like, yo, listen, like, this is why this is fucked up. Like, while Finley would be a good person to like have that reality check, I think that Leela would likely be the person who could have that conversation from a firsthand experience that that even Hadriel really didn't have. Hadriel was shame fucking. Leela wasn't. She was doing it because that's what she needed, right? So
I mean, honestly, it could be both. Like, her and Hadriel sit down and have a conversation, because I mean, that was a constant in the first set of, both of them kind of giving it to Finley how it is. And I think Finley might just, like I said, just give her the shit. And then, like you said, the other two, I do see Leela doing that, but both of them coming in and being like, okay, so this is what it looks like. This is what's going on. This is why she's saying these things, because Finley also went through so much, and they have so much respect for Finley, just because of everything she did for them.
Yeah.
And they'll have to explain to Aurelia why they act the way they do, and then go from there.
Yeah.
For you guys, and unfortunately, my phone battery is tanking. But do we think? How long do we think until she has access to her animal? Do we think it's possible she's going to unleash her own animal, or that Finley's going to do it? Like, what are your thoughts about the animal?
I really thought that when she was being attacked by Alexander, that the trauma of that with everything was going to release, right? Because she had already felt the wolf, so she knows she has her shifter, right? I really thought then, but I think when she gets to the Dragon Kingdom, that's when it's going to happen. But I think it's going to happen when she experiences a traumatic event. I don't think it's just going to be pulled out by an alpha just because. Like, I think there's going to be like something that sparks it. Whether another alpha pulls it out just to be a dick when she's not prepared, or maybe she's in a major conflict and then herself, the animal, emerges to save her. Which I think it's going to be more of a saving. Like, if I was to like guess, or what I would like, right? I would like it where if she's in this cutthroat scene and it's she's on the edge and she can die if this doesn't happen, then her wolf emerges and just is like, I'm here, bitches, like, and then saves her. So
how fucked up would it be if it released like on the ship, like right after
that is a possibility.
Like,
I think
I do too, and like just the trauma and the pain, everything finally crashing down. Is that where the wolf has to come out to save her?
Or is it that where her other side comes out to save her? Because she's a half-breed, so it's possible that I want to know what the Emberflies mean. Like, that's my biggest thing. I want to know what the Emberflies mean. I know we all probably have our theories on what her other half is. But
fairy.
I think she's fairy.
I'm thinking you're right. She's probably fairy in some capacity or other.
So I have a question. So, especially for you guys that are rereading it, am I wrong, or did I thought Weston said he was going to pull her wolf out once they reach the ship?
He may, yeah.
I think he did as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he wanted to wait until they got to a safe space. So he was talking about once they got out of this kingdom, he was going to do it. So he said once we get her to a safe space. So that's why I was thinking that maybe the ship, maybe that's when it happens.
But see, I just don't feel like Weston's going to be the one to do it. I really don't.
No.
I think if
real. No,
that's what I was literally about to say. Is if it's not her doing it herself, it's going to be Hadriel.
But doesn't it have to be an alpha? I don't know if Hadriel would be considered an alpha, though.
But they've never said that that Hadriel's not an alpha. They've never once. I want to say that I looked through it. They never referred to him as anything other than a pack member. Like, they never said that he wasn't an alpha, but it just so happens that Weston's a stronger alpha.
And it doesn't mean he doesn't have alpha blood, right? Like, he could have alpha blood, but just not want to be an alpha because he likes being the mediocre butler. Because remember, he likes to stay behind the scenes because that's his survival mode.
He wants everybody to expect less of him. I really think that Hadriel's an alpha. He's just not alpha.
He's smart. That man knows how to survive.
You're definitely right.
Yeah, he knows how to survive. But I don't know. I'm so excited
to be the one that does it. He's like, all right, Weston, deal with it now, you ass.
Well, okay, because
he does it while they're having sex. No, I'm kidding.
What if he did it by accident?
Okay, so let me put it this way, and another reason I think this. Okay, so I forgot about this until just now. This is what got my brain thinking about it. So they literally say at one point that any strong alpha should be able to feel Aurelia's wolf. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hadriel said multiple times he can feel her wolf.
He has.
But
right
so
there.
Everybody else knows that she has one because it's like a mind thing. Like, Weston's told everybody, hey, she's got a wolf. Like, they know
Yeah,
she's
and then
got something.
and
But
they felt her wolf when he did that thing.
Hadriel's literally said he can feel her wolf. What if, when she's getting upset in the middle of the battles, the half of the reason that Weston's losing grip is because her wolf is calling to the other wolves around?
What if she is the strongest wolf?
I think she is.
Like,
I think
I
she's
think
just
she
as
is as
strong,
well.
if not stronger than Weston.
My guess is he's gonna have a sugar mama, you know.
Oh yeah,
So she's
for
gonna
fucking sure.
be the queen bee.
Well,
Yeah.
I love every second of it.
I think
Yes.
that she's going to let him have like the alpha status, but I think she's just going to be right on par, if not a little notch over than him. I really do.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, especially with her being halfling. Yeah, she's
Right.
got this extra oomph to her.
But I do think Hadriel is an alpha. He just wants to be in Weston's pack because he said numerous times in the book that he could feel her wolf. And they said any decent alpha would be able to feel it and be able to bring it out.
Yeah.
My other question is like, oh, sorry, I heard you, but I know there was a little bit of a delay there. But what if? Okay, so here's my question because I genuinely can't remember. Were there fae in the first part of the Deliciously Dark Fairy Tales? Because I don't remember fae being in there. I remember demons and I remember shifters, but I don't remember fae.
They're in the third and fourth book, I believe.
Okay.
Yes. Remember, because her brother, his mate is a fairy, and there's like that. That's where I thought this book was going to be, was Finley's brother, and then the girl, but it wasn't.
I always thought it was going to be Hannon and Hadriel. Like, that's who I'm shipping.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like,
so I think they were mentioned in like the first two books, but I don't think we really saw any of them like personally or whatever until the third and the fourth book. Because I want to say we meet a few of them too, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we meet of the fact. Yeah.
It's been
because
like
one of them is a prisoner, right? One of them is a prisoner.
Right.
And then
Sorry,
it's
I didn't do a reread.
Yeah, and her sister has a rare ability.
Yes.
And that's the sister that is fated to Finley's brother.
Yeah. I want to say they show up to the big battle.
Yes, but remember they're not supposed to like one each other another because she's his opposite. So they're like the yin and the yang. So I do remember. Out of that whole freaking 4 books, that's what I remember the most. Because I was like, that's where I thought when she said she was going to continue, I thought it was going to be the brother and then this girl, because that is literally like, you're talking polar opposites, like life and death. Because remember, she's deaf, he's life.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Thank you for reminding me, because that was like they had their own gardens, right? And Finley, like, okay. Sorry, it's been a while since I've read those books, so it took me a minute to connect the dots.
It's been like 2 years for me, but that's literally like the only thing I really remember besides the face fucking, because I was like, what?
Isn't that where the brother... Okay, isn't that where the brother dies?
So the brother does die, but remember, he's a phoenix, so he comes back.
Right, but isn't it
I think we lost... Oh, we lost her. Her phone died.
Isn't it in the fairy lands, though?
No, I don't think so.
For some reason, I thought didn't like the things catch on fire and he was in it after getting hurt, and then he comes back and it wasn't in the fairy lands at somebody else's gardens.
That he died? No, he was.
Read all of this now.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure he was just captured by the demons. I remember he was tied up to like a stake and they stabbed him. Or they burned him. It was something like that. Like he was tied and Finley went up, like they had stabbed him and he was bleeding out and Finley was crying like, hey, let's help you.
I want to say they attacked while they were in the fairy lands.
That's what I kind of am remembering as well, is that I think they attacked
while they were in the fairy lands. And yeah, he was staked.
He was staked. That's what I remember.
In the fairy lands where they were like learning about all the new plants. And he burned with the shed. And like he came out of the ashes of the shed.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna restart at the very beginning and then reread through to get to this, and then of course the next one. But
Yeah.
I do want to say they were in the fairy lands when
I think you're right. I think
the
you are
brother
right. I just
died.
remember the description is like there was trees and then there was like a field and
Hmm.
stuff. So
I
it,
remember the
oh,
garden.
it can definitely be the fairylands. So but yeah, I think you guys are on cue also with the Hadriel pulling her wolf out. I think that's a strong possibility. I mean, I didn't even think about that. Let's be honest. I didn't even think about that. You know, that like, oh, he could sense her wolf. Like, oh, he has to be an alpha. But yeah, that totally makes sense. And I did
But
not even like it didn't register for me, you know? Just didn't
maybe
register.
maybe I'm wrong here, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But I forgot Weston's two like top enforcers, like his beta and his like the female side character. I forgot their names because I'm awful with names.
Dante and
Oh,
Dante
Nora.
and
Is it Nora? No.
Yeah.
no,
The
it's
Noah?
end.
let me see.
No, but she was the one that went for 16. Sorry, 16 and Dante.
Yes,
And then
yes.
the other guy was Tinte or Trinte or something like that.
is it
I
But both of them though could also uh
Panic.
they could yes yes both of them could also feel her wolf. Um,
Oh, okay.
so I remember that happening. So I'm wondering, like, is it going to be Weston who pulls her wolf out, or is it going to be one of these two, or like the three of them? So either the two side characters there or Hadriel, who are going to be sick of Weston's shit and the shit that he keeps pulling, because they have said numerous times within the book that Weston, like, he just needs to come out and say this shit, right? So I'm wondering if one of them is finally just gonna be like, go fuck yourself and like do it for her. Because
Because
that
they're best friends now ever since she axed him. I'm just
hmm
saying. I
and
love Dante.
yeah, like they're BFFs, right? So but
Right.
he's also, as you can probably see, or if you remember, he also was kind of one of those fly off the handle, does his own shit, um kind of characters. And because of that, like I could see him also being the person who like they have a heart to heart on the ship and he's the one that ends up pulling this out because he's sick of Weston's shit. Like cuz he's even said like he pulled Weston aside a couple times, right? And said like this like you got to tell her. So maybe it's him that's finally like go fuck yourself, where I'm going to do it my damn self if you're not going to do it for her. And especially because I have a feeling that on the, like in the next book on the ship, Weston's going to treat her like complete dog shit on the entire
hmm
ride to,
Yeah, because his
um,
walls are up. He's
mhm.
like, no, I'm putting distance between us now. So he's gonna be even more of a shithead. God love him. But yeah, no, I'm with. Now I don't know. Now it's like Hadriel or Dante. I'm over here and they're on my shoulder. I don't know which one.
I mean, they might all just go to Weston and be like, if you don't do it, we're gonna do it. Like at the end of the
hmm
Right?
day,
They're like
like that. It is
mutiny.
what it is.
It
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, and it could still just be her. Um,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
honestly,
It would be
working with
badass if it was her. Let's be honest. Like it would be badass if she just like
oh yeah,
wolf, you know?
And it's and I mean this in the best and most respectful way possible, but that is also Breen's MO,
Yeah.
hmm
right? So like
Yeah.
I can see it that she would pull her own wolf out, be like, I'll do this my goddamn self. Like go fuck yourself.
Again, what
Well,
But
she
now
said
that
is
she knows she has one, right? Like because she
mhm.
didn't know, so she'd never tried. But now that she knows she has one, maybe there is something like that she can do, or maybe when she's on a trip,
Yep.
yes.
like you
you know,
know,
she didn't bug out as much as I thought she would. She just kind of like rolled with it when she figured out she had it.
yeah, yeah,
But I feel like that's also kind of her personality. She seems to have
Yeah,
rolled with everything. Um,
he's like, well, fuck it. Yeah, I got a
right,
wolf. Woohoo! Still can't touch it.
right,
Got
Um,
shitheads. Thanks a lot.
yeah.
right. Oh man. Well, I'm excited. I know we could probably talk about this book forever. I'm pretty sure because there's so much in here with the hate fucking, the love fucking, Hadriel with all his quotes and his quirkiness. Because gosh, that man is quirky, and I love him, and I love his sarcasm. I can't wait till the second book. But I do know it's getting late where some of you guys are at because it's late where I'm at. So I do think we can wrap this up, but we'll definitely continue chatting in our actual chats about our theories and stuff because I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm so excited to be part of the street team because
Me too. Oh my
Same.
gosh. I've had so
that made my day. Which, by the way, guys, these crowns were a gift from KF Breene. So these are our crowns for being members of her court. So that's why we're wearing them today because we are members of her royal court. I'm excited, and I can't wait for Daisy's books. So as well, the second.
Me too, because that's gonna be. We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. After the next book, let's do this again. We'll do like a Cage of Kingdom, and then Daisy, and then we'll just continue.
Yeah.
Like I said, we could keep talking forever, but I know you ladies have got to be tired, especially those of you that are 2-3 hours ahead. That means it's almost 10 o'clock where you're at, because it's almost 7 where I'm at, and it is way past dinner time. So
Thank you again for having us. Appreciate it.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you for joining me. And then
What a blast.
I would say definitely after the next book comes out, let's meet back up and let's do this again.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, awesome. You ladies have a great night.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.